Well, at least you do have a crate system to put items in, since the inventory system is annoying, since it won't tell you what the item is until it's shoved into your inventory. And if that's full, well, the game won't tell you what it is even when you do find an item, forcing you to backtrack to a crate. And trust me, wandering around outside is not fun in the slightest. When you are outside, you naturally get ambushed. You can try and kill enemies, but another one will respawn almost instantaneously after you do so. Yes, enemies respawn. It's bad enough that killing enemies are a chore, but now they constantly respawn in most outside areas no matter what. Is it because the unleashed evil spirits can spawn them infinitely from hell or something? Okay, I can understand that, but this is a horrible game mechanic. That and the enemies usually travel in pairs just for the sole purpose of gangbanging you. Yeah, as if one-on-one combat isn't bad enough. Shooting enemies is just about as pointless too, since it's just a waste of ammo, so most of the time you'll be using the axe and occasionally the chainsaw, unless by some divine persistence you actually get far into the game and find more powerful guns. So yeah, there's no satisfaction at all when you kill things in this game. Also, every now and then when you enter a new area, you'll hear this.
I'll swallow your soul!
Yeah, that reference is cute at first, but it repeats throughout the game, which just makes it annoying after the first few times. Because of the nature of the combat and enemies, it's best to just run past them, but even that's not always easy. Ash here is not very nimble. Sure, he can run, or jog in this case, but he'll get stuck around corners and shit you can't see because of the camera angles. Plus, he can fall on his ass when he gets attacked, and then Ash might freeze in place for no apparent reason while enemies take free hits on you. Oh, and the enemies are cheap bastards too, because they can move fast, and they can even spawn or teleport right in fucking front of you, blocking the way. Ash does have one trick up his sleeve, however, and that's a backwards jump step. Great, because that's the exact maneuver I always want when enemies are chasing me down. Plus, you'll most likely discover this unintentionally when you try to move around, because pushing back will make Ash jump back at the slightest nudge, it seems. The whole game just feels like a bad Resident Evil knockoff. If the developers were going to rip off other survival horror games, they should at least have made the gameplay decent based off of those. But the design makes it so horrible and inferior in comparison. By the time Hail to the King came out, games like Resident Evil 3 and Dino Crisis 2 were out, and they controlled and played a lot better. Dino Crisis 2 lets you move while aiming, dodge, and quick turn, while Resident Evil 3 has a quick turn, auto-aiming, and a dodge command when zombies get too close and attack. But in those games you're probably thinking, oh, in those games you just mostly shoot. There's no emphasis on close quarters combat. Alright, let me think of a game that came out roughly around the same time as Hail to the King, had Resident Evil style controls and camera angles, and had quick and responsive combat. Does Omnimusha ring a bell? Wow, that's actually the fourth Capcom game I'm comparing this to. Coincidence? Regardless, Omnimusha is a great game that takes its control and camera setup and makes it into a well-made game. This game's combat is far superior compared to the slow, clumsy mess that is Hail to the King. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There's also a taunt button in this game, like Fistful of Boomstick, but that's all the button does. A complete button used the same 3 taunts over and over. Gee, it's too bad you couldn't use a quick turn or something instead of this useless fucking taunt. Sorry about that. So if you explore around, you're bound to find mushrooms and other things that you can't seem to use in your inventory right away. Remember the converter thing I mentioned earlier? Well, you can use it to convert mushrooms and stuff into items that replenish health and fuel. Alright! Something useful! Wait, why can't I convert things? Hang on, let me check the manual. Okay, let's see. Look for first aid kits, various food items, and mushrooms that can be converted into food once you've found the handy-dandy Wolverine survival guide. Wait, Wolverines? No, it's not them. It's actually a Boy Scout group called the Wolverine Troop. Although that's a bit of a downer. That means you'll be fighting demonic Boy Scouts instead of demonic resistance fighters. Although that's probably for the best, considering Ash will probably get his ass handed to them. But going back to the converter thing, you mean to tell me that Ash has the knowledge to make this converter, but not know how to use it for mushroom unless he finds a Boy Scout book? Great way to make things even more convoluted than it already is, huh? So after wandering around a lot, I discovered that being lost in this game is not fun. At all. You know what? Cue the wandering around being lost montage. Well, at least I did run into those Boy Scout Deadites, but like all the other enemies, they constantly respawn too. I can understand the ghost skeletons and things respawning, but the Deadites? Really? They even respawn out of thin air too. Well, in any case, what the hell did Ash just do there? Okay, he just chainsawed a Deadite and it spun horizontally while the chainsaw spins vertically and... Chainsaws do not work that way! So after aimlessly wandering around for a bit, I do manage to make progress. Sort of. I did find a shovel near the cabin, which has an Evil Dead 2 cameo by the way, and I used that to get into a mine, only to be stopped by needing a battery to fix the lights. Then I found one area that I thought I could exploit. Here I found a constant stream of respawning bat things that die fairly easily. Because items like ammo and medkits stack up in the inventory, I figured I could grab as many medkits as I want by exploiting this. But the bat things don't drop anymore after collecting a set amount. It's like the developers knew I was going to do this, and made it so that it prevented me from exploiting this even further. Assholes. Then I found a starting cord in a lawnmower in a random maze, which used to start this generator next to some random hillbilly home. Then it summons hillbilly deadites and I die. That's about as far as I got in this game. You know, I know I've complained a lot about this game, and to be perfectly honest, it's not the worst survival horror game out there, let alone on the Dreamcast. The positives I can give are that the game does look pretty good. Both the character models and pre-rendered backgrounds are nicely detailed, and the overall sound design is okay too, and fits with the overall theme. Bruce Campbell, as always, does a good job as Ash, but not even Bruce Campbell can make up for the lame story, bad combat, iffy controls, and horrible design choices in this game. I'm done. This is by far the weakest entry in the Evil Dead video game series. I can only recommend this game for hardcore fans of the Evil Dead series, and you know, for those that want to collect all the video games, movies, memorabilia, etc. This is the Blondeguygamer. Thank you for watching my review. There, after all this time I reviewed all 3 modern Evil Dead games. Speaking of which, where did they go? What the...
Yes, it is complete.
What? What's complete?
Together we as one to bring forth a new era. A new era of evil.
Say what?